Bengals Raiders part 2 this time. Wild card round in the postseason. And I tell you what, this Oakland Raiders team is the absolute last team I want to play in playoffs in the first round. It really is. We've talked about this. We've harped on this. And why I wanted to see the Bengals so badly go out there and beat the Browns last week and try to beat the Browns last week. A team that goes into the playoffs on a hot streak, a team that needs to win out to make playoffs, is a very dangerous and a very scary football team to have to go up against. The Las Vegas Raiders, or still call them Oakland, the Las Vegas Raiders were 6-7. Playoff hopes looking really grim. They'd go on to win the next 4 games. Not only did they go on to win the next 4 games, it'd be 4 games against playoff contenders. They beat the Browns, who are, again, square in the middle of things. They go on to play Denver the week after that. And then you think this team still needs to win out. And they need to play the Indianapolis Colts and the Los Angeles Chargers. They went out there, got the job done, and here they are in playoffs. These guys ain't some team to take lightly. I tell you what. Let's not forget, Oakland held Joe Burrow to 148 pass yards in his first game. That's fewest pass yards yet all season. I think this is a game that we look and say, it's going to be a lot different this time. First game, you look at the scoreboard, it looks like it was a blowout. It really wasn't. Bengals were up by 3 midway through the 4th. But it was one of those games where the Bengals, they were still trying to find their proper identity here, where they were still in this conservative-esque play calling. I think they're out of this conservative-esque play calling, and they go straight into throwing the football. I think the Raiders have a harder time slowing them down this time. Last time we've seen Joe Mixon run the ball 30 times. And again, a conservative play calling, if you will. Last game could have been really different. I think the Raiders beat themselves. The Raiders would go on, settle for a couple field goals early. Again, they was making stops on the Bengals. They was kind of hurting themselves, though. They was letting the Bengals get back into the game with some bad penalties, a couple unnecessary roughness. They had that pass interference all in that second quarter that helped this team get down the field, score, and really, boost the momentum of this team going into the second half. Defense played really well. They got a lot of pressure on Joe Burrow. Again, I think it's different this time because it's not as many of these obvious passing downs. I don't think the Bengals are going to do that this time. I think they're going to be more aggressive. I think the Raiders are going to have a hard time slowing that down. But Bengals might have a hard time slowing down this Raiders team. Their team, again, that got away from themselves a bit too. I don't think we see the same here. Both the running backs, single digits in the carries. When these guys are winning, they're playing well. You're seeing Josh Jacobs tote that rock 25 sometimes a game. I do think, though, part of the reason they got away from that run game is because the Bengals have a rather good run defense. But they was able to go to the pass game and go to one of the best tight ends in all of football in Darren Waller, who gashed him for about 116 yards. I think he has another big game against the Bengals this time around. The story going into that game, we talked about it then. It's going to be a big topic again this time, is can the Las Vegas Raiders turn field goals into touchdowns? Turn red zone opportunities into touchdowns. They set up for field goals last time, which allowed these Bengals to make adjustments into the second half, try to pull away from the Raiders. Opposed to, again, if they would have just put their foot on the gas, couple of touchdowns early, we might have had a whole different game. Might have a whole different situation right now. And I expect them adjustments to happen. I just think the Bengals are on another level right now compared to where they was in that football game against the Raiders. Again, I think it's two teams that are, you don't even look back at that game and think it's going to be a similar game. I don't. I think it's going to be a completely different game we see played this time around. This is a Bengals team that's playing with more confidence. A Bengals offense that is night and day better. You're seeing the drop passes they was having early in the season with Higgins and Jamar Chase. They're really starting to go away. Higgins is becoming this really, really good 50-50 catcher. Chase, as always, a very explosive wide receiver. And not to mention, they are playing in Cincinnati this time. And the Raiders are going to go travel to Cincinnati Saturday afternoon here. Overall, I still can't bet against Joe Burrow. This guy right now is locked and loaded. He didn't play last week. Would have liked to see the Bengals end on that hot streak, but this guy is locked and loaded, and he's one of those guys that just has it. You can't really explain it any other way than he just has that it factor when it comes to winning the big games, being that leader that gets his team ready for the big games. Just got to make sure these Bengals stay in check, though. I'll tell you what, one of the things about this team is they are just an outstanding underdog team. When they become a heavy favorite, though, that's when things get shaky. So we'll see how they enter into the wildcard round. Again, I can't bet against Joe Burrow. I'm saying Bengals in this red-hot offense knock down a red-hot Raiders team in a close game. 34-31 Bengals. Love you guys' thoughts. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.